Our next guest played with the Chiefs and the Bucs. He was a first-round pick in the NFL with the New York Jets. And we'll talk to him a little bit about this game, the NFL, what's happening here. I think Anthony Becht also spent some time with Nick Sirianni when he was with the Chiefs, so we'll get his take on the Eagles' new head coach. And if you're watching on the video, of course, you could see Ant on there. What is he got? You got like a Chiefs, Bucs. What the hell is that?
You like that? Well, I don't want to show favoritism. I mean, I'm going to the game. Obviously, I live in Tampa. I cover the team. They paid me more salary than the Chiefs did, so there's a little lean there as well. But, look, I don't want to, I'm having some fun with it. I wore this last year just because I wanted to jump on the bandwagon, and I did. So I just whipped it out, and, of course, I got me a new fresh Bucs lid as well. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, man, and I know you played for both these teams, so we'll get good perspective on that and the game. But you do pre- and post-game with the Bucs. Now, we had you on way back in March when Brady signed. It was March or whenever he ended up signing. And you said that's a Super Bowl move, that team was good enough to be a Super Bowl team, but adding Brady got them there. You watched them all year long. What did you see different from this year's team to last year's team? Was it simply Brady? Because some would say, well, he didn't play at a Brady level.
No, there's a lot of things, obviously, that this team is better at than they were last year. Number one, they brought back the majority of the roster, in particular defense, right? So a lot of those guys played a ton of reps last year and got better. The secondary was young. They continued to get confidence. They finished the season strong. And then headed into this year, it became a huge asset for them. I think everybody's starting to see now, in particular the playoffs, is the fact that, this defensive line is pretty good at pass rushing. Vita Vea is a bit of a force inside now that he's back. I was a little shocked on how many snaps he actually got in the Packers game, but he truly was a difference pushing that pocket and allowing that one-on-one on the outside with Shaq Barrett and JPP. So those things have been good. The offensive line has been spectacular. I think they've been the best offensive line in the league the last 10 games. Tristan Wirfs, the rookie at right tackle, to me is an all-pro player in his first year. I think he was the best right tackle in football. Donovan Smith has played up to his $15 million contract. And then Ali Marpet and Jensen are, they're pretty high caliber elite players as well at their position. So think about this. You're Tom Brady. You come to this team. You got an awesome offensive line, a good defense. And now look at the weapons that he's had. I mean, we haven't gotten to that yet. I mean, you're talking about not only does he have weapons on the field, he's got weapons on the bench. Scotty Miller comes in. They pick up Antonio Brown. Cameron Brate steps up as an additional tight end. These guys are doing a lot of things outside of just Mike Evans and Godwin, who are probably the two best receivers he's thrown to in the last 8 years. So, Tom Brady has led the charge. He's been the difference maker in the locker room and on the field as well. But, there's a lot of pieces that came together. But if you don't have a good quarterback, guys, we had a quarterback that threw for 5,000 yards and 40-some touchdowns last year, and they couldn't win. So this is the same team with a new quarterback, and they've been showing up week in and week out.
Now, when Todd Bowles' name was mentioned for the Eagles' head coaching job, people weren't all that excited. But I'm sure the people in Tampa are excited that he's not leaving. What about that defense has changed this whole thing? Because I don't know that people looked at Tampa and said, wow, that's just a great defense. Like, it's not like it was the Bucs defense with Sapp and Brooks in that crew.
No, they're just really young. There's just a lot to like about them. They got probably the best linebacker duo collectively in the league. Devin White's been spectacular. Levante David, nobody wants to put him up there as one of the best linebackers in the league. But if you look at TFL, sacks, interceptions, and tackles, nobody comes close to him. Nobody in the league at the linebacker position with all those statistics combined. The secondary's young, but they've gotten better. They played together. Like I said, last year and the year before, they were growing. They drafted a lot of corners and safeties, and they got really good play by Antoine Winfield Jr., the rookie out of Minnesota, who's done a spectacular job as well. Now, he hasn't played the last two games, but expect him to be on the field as an added addition to this defense. Look, Todd Bowles is one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinator in the NFL. The head coaching situation in a big market for him in New York didn't quite work. he doesn't have really that personality to handle those markets. I didn't think Philadelphia was going to be an option. I talked to Todd pre-pandemic in January, and he told me he wasn't taking another job, head coaching job, unless it was perfect. And there are no perfect head coaching jobs. So, listen, when he got fired with the Jets, there was a jet waiting for him to come to Tampa and basically, name what you want. And they did it for him. And that wasn't the only team that wanted him as well. So I don't see him leaving. He's got kids that play ball down here in high school. So he may be the head coach in waiting as well. BA did say he was going to retire if he won the Super Bowl. So if that happens, he may be the coach next year.
Wow. Yeah, it's like you read my mind. I was going to say, one of the most interesting storylines for this team is this Bruce Arians, Tom Brady relationship. How do you personally see those two and the way that they kind of work together, or sometimes, I don't know, it seemed like they were going against each other all season long?
Yeah, people, listen, BA is one of the best coaches to play for. Every player's got a lot of great things to say about him. But I mean, he's not afraid to drop an F-bomb on you at practice and tell you you're a dumb player because you messed up or didn't do it right. He expects that. Now, I don't think anybody thought he'd do that to Tom Brady, but look, Tom Brady's new to that system. He was grasping a whole new terminology, and it was up and down. I just didn't think the mesh was there, but it did take time. I mean, Tom's wearing a wristband for a reason. There's just a lot going on. I mean, it's his first time he's been in a new system. As you look at the last 8 games, in particular the playoffs, they've really come together since the bye. They've started to cater the offense to that play action a little bit more to what Tom does. Bruce Arians' offense has always been good, but it's a little archaic. I mean, if you look like a guy like Andy Reid, it was a blessing for him to get let go by Philly because he was able to kind of invent himself. And look what he's done with the offense with the Chiefs. He's built it around his players, and it's one of the innovative offenses out there right now in the NFL. So, the relationship is fine. I think it's going well. I just think that just because they weren't clicking, a lot of people wanted to throw things out there. And, to me, this was the best scenario for both guys. And now it looks like they're truly working together, and they played really good football here the last 5-6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, Anthony Becht's with us, does pre- and post-game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played for both the Bucs and the Chiefs. And obviously, Brady, as you mentioned, changed a lot there. But how about as underrated was getting Fournette back? Because it seems that has really added another layer to this offense, too.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the Fournette signing. To be quite honest with you, pre-playoffs, I didn't really like the way he was playing. I mean, he wasn't hitting the holes hard. He was dropping balls. He wasn't pass protecting well. All of a sudden, Ronald Jones got hurt right before the playoffs, who I really like, and who's really going to be a factor in this game as a fill-in now because Fournette has played so much better in the playoffs. He's run the ball hard. He's done a nice job catching it, the screen game. Now he's starting to be the guy that, everyone maybe thought he would be early on in his career, and he's starting to bring a lot to the table. But when Ronald Jones comes in and mixes in now, a lot of bursts, a lot of explosion, a lot of speed. He is the better back. But right now the hot hand is Leonard Fournette. He's dealing with a quad, Rojo was. So, with 2 weeks off and not doing really too much against the Packers, that'll be a nice kind of a 1-2 punch for Brady, who's going to need it. They're going to have to get 10, 12, 13 play drives in this game just to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands to be successful.
Now, you obviously play tight end, coach tight end. So the tight end position in Tampa, how would you describe it? Because when they got Gronk and Brady has had some touchdown catches, they had Howard, the first-round pick. But How do they utilize the tight end? I'm really interested to get your perspective on this, and we'll kind of tie it into here locally in a little bit here. But I guess everybody thought Gronk was going to be this crazy connection with Brady. It hasn't quite worked out that way, but, man, the way that they utilize him is underrated. But the way they use their tight ends in this offense.
Well, a key injury for them early in the season that kind of took them off kilter was O.J. Howard. Because O.J. Howard was the de facto, the guy that could run through the second and third levels of your defense, and your safety had to honor him. And you start to see him become a factor in that Gronk play as well, where Gronk was more of a, he had to stay in on pass protection because, look, O.J. was a better athlete. He was doing better things for them. But then they started using him a little bit right before he got hurt, and things started to click. And then once he went down, Brady started to get back to Gronk heavy right in the middle of the season. Lately, he's done a lot of blocking. I mean, listen, they got a lot of fast, really short-handed weapons at the receiver position. People think when Scotty Miller comes on the field, he's just like a slot guy. He's the fastest receiver on the team. So he's got the ability to go outside. But I think Gronk's going to be a factor in this game. He doesn't have to stay in and pass protect and help out versus this Chiefs defense. I don't really see anybody on the edge that can give them problems. And I think Gronk's going to be a factor. I think you'll see him come alive in the red zone. And, Cameron Brate's done a nice being mixed in as well. But, Gronk's done a lot of the little things that help this team be successful. But I can almost count on it that he'll have a big play in this game somewhere, somehow.
All right. So Anthony Becht played with the Tampa Bay Bucs for 3 seasons. Your final season, 2011, was with the Kansas City Chiefs. So your most recent team was the Chiefs. And obviously this team is kind of, I don't know, man. They might be the next version of the Patriots. You might see Andy and Mahomes do this thing for a while, and that's what makes it so interesting. You got Brady going for 7, and you've got Mahomes going for 2, but at 25 years old, we were going to college together watching Brady do his thing. I can't believe he's still doing it. But Mahomes might be that version for this group of college kids.
Well, you must have been on the Van Wilder college plan because I came out with Brady. So did you actually stay a couple more years and didn't graduate? Yeah, listen, I mean, he's been phenomenal. I mean, it's like, man, who bets against Brady? But then you see what Mahomes does. Like, what's the plan? Like, how do you beat him? Like, I really believe, like, you got to have, like, 4 sacks and 2 turnovers for the Bucs, and it starts there. Like, after that, you're not even guaranteed. Like, they have to bring him down in the pass rush. They have to be in 3rd and long. And I'm not talking about 3rd and 7. Like, that's normal long. Like, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20. And even then, he'll get an opportunity to still convert. Look, I think the one thing that Patrick Mahomes does that goes against him sometimes is the fact that he loves the big play. He loves to get that big play in the passing game. And, with this pass rush and the guys inside and outside, if they can contain him and squeeze the pocket, they have a chance. When the Raiders beat him, they were able to intercept him in the red zone and play really good man-to-man defense. And Mahomes was off on some throws. You can't count on him being off. You look at him in the last Super Bowl last year, he was off to start the game. He had 1 good quarter. Now, it was a monster quarter. But, the 49ers had him under control. But that's the thing. Like, that's all it takes. Like, 1 good quarter, he could score 21 points. So it is going to be an all-day sucker, man. I'll tell you, you got to keep him off the field. You got to force turnovers. You got to sack him. And your offense better be on point. Because if you got a lead, you don't take your foot off the gas. And if you don't have a lead, then good luck. So I think it's going to be a close game, a good matchup. They'll find ways to do it. I don't think Mahomes will be perfect in the game. He'll have his challenges. I don't think it'll be as easy as game 1 when they play with Tyreek Hill getting 200 yards receiving in the first quarter. But they do have their challenges. And, listen, Brady will keep them in this game some way, somehow. Not going to happen throwing 3 picks, but he'll find a way.
Hearing you talk about the tight end position for the Bucs, what about the Chiefs? What stands out to you the most about Travis Kelce's game, which is outrageous, and the way Andy Reid uses him?
Let me interject real quick on that, because someone said to me, Becht, that Kelce's only as good as he is because that offense allows him so much free. Like, if Kelce went to another team, he would still be the best, would he not?
He would. I don't think his numbers would be as good, but they'd still be good. I mean, listen, you're right. It's nice to have Tyreek Hill on the outside, right? That's always going to pull a safety. You're always going to be either matched up by a linebacker who he doesn't want anything to do with you, right? He's going to try to squeeze, hold, and do everything. And you're so quick and crafty as a tight end that he is, it's just a mismatch. The aspect of his game that's really good is when he catches the ball, he's gone. Like, you don't see him catch and then try to – like, he's, like, literally up the field getting as many yards as possible. Very rarely do you see him make a contested catch. There's always separation with him, and he's got unique athleticism for his size. And to be quite honest with you, he in the same token as Gronk, he's got the it factor. He doesn't care factor. Like, he'll go out there and nothing phases him. Like, no, he's not worried or scared about anybody, and he knows nobody can cover him. So he goes in there with this supreme confidence, and he dominates. Gronk did that in his career, and this is what Kelce's doing now. So you get to see both. I wouldn't say both at their best, because Gronk, again, he's being asked to do a lot more. But I'm telling you now, you put it near his body, he'll catch the football. He's one of the best contested tight end catchers that's ever played the game. So I've really been impressed. Kelce continues to get better, too. There's been no downward step for him. And he'll continue to do that as long as those weapons and quarterback are intact.
Anthony Becht with us. And, the big story is the 2 injuries on the offensive line. And you were a guy who was blocking tight end, and you can probably kind of talk about when that line is not together. And when you've got to bring someone new in, that change. The Eagles saw it all year long, and to have to do it at this stage of the season, that could really be the factor, the big one in this game.
Well, imagine if you're JPP or you're Shaq Barrett and you open up the scouting report and it says Mike Reimers, left tackle, 11 years in the league, 9 different teams. I mean, what does that tell you? He's a bit of a journeyman. He's not a great starter. I think you all saw what happened against the Broncos when Carolina played. It was a long day on the edge for him, and he's not any better than he was then. He's older, so he's got his hands full. On the other side, you got Andrew Wiley. I mean, you look at the scouting report for him, 4 years in the league, 4 different practice squads until he came to the Chiefs. I mean, there's not that these guys won't be able to live up to the moment, but these are like you're licking your chops. If your JPP's way too experienced, Shaq Barrett's at his prime, and he's been playing lights out in the playoffs, it's a big problem. So what's Andy Reid do? Like, what's your counter? Like, you put Kelce there, like you said, at tight end to help block and chip. No way Kelce's buying that. If they ask him to do that, he's like, go screw yourself, Reid. I'm not doing any of that. You may put it back there, but we all know that Andy loves to utilize the backs, right, in the passing game. And you can't really pull the guard out to help too much because you got Vita Vea in the middle who's going to, push your center back about as good as anybody. So look for a lot of jet sweep and orbit motion behind the quarterback. They're going to hand it off early. That will hold the ends for a second. If you can just stop them for a second, maybe plus the fact that Mahomes can avoid some guys, that will help. But if you get the third down, there is no jet sweep. You don't have that action anymore. So that third 7 and 8 now, you can get into tee-off mode. So it's going to be tough. You got to find way. And look, Mahomes has to be off a couple times also in the game. But I think it's a huge disadvantage for the tackles right now versus the Bucs pass rushers.
All right, and tell us a little bit about Nick Sirianni, what you know about him, because not a lot of people know about him. You do.
I do. He's a much better speaker behind closed doors than he is maybe in front of a mic and computers. So I won't bash him for that. Look, Nick was brought into the league by Todd Haley when I was at Kansas City. Was a quality control guy. Then he worked up as an assistant quarterback coach. He's a guy that's been around a lot of good head coaches. Think about Todd Haley, Ken Wisenhunt, and then, of course, Frank Reich. He's learned at a very quick pace. That's kind of the MO right now for these newer, younger players. They've been around quality coaches, and everybody wants what they're doing, right? Everybody wants that system, and they feel like they're the guys that can do that and channel that. I think it's important on his hires who he brings collectively in as coaches. I saw most of the hires. I know that his key guys, his coordinators, his special teams guys, younger guys similar to him that are still kind of, setting their foundation. It's always key to have maybe an older, a guy that's been around, maybe a former head coach, someone to help you in those moments. Look, it's a big deal. Coaching in Philly, places like that, New York, you don't just come in. It's not the same as Indianapolis, You're not going to have, 2 beat writers in the locker room. You're going to have a bunch, and they're all going to want to ask the tough questions. So, he's going to have to get used to that, and he's going to have to get the quarterback situation figured out. I don't know what that plan is, If he was brought in as a buffer to figure this out, if they're rebuilding, if it works out for him, it's a bonus, then that's fine. But, listen, Frank Reich has some experience around Carson. Maybe there's some feel there that they feel like they can make some changes. I don't know what the competition is going to be like. I mean, unless he gets traded or he's not on the roster come spring and summer camp, he's going to be the guy. So I wish him luck. He's a great young coach. He's up and coming, but man, it's a tough place to start. So if he was expecting to be head coach, guys, I don't think he'd be at the beach and he wouldn't have a suit with him on travel. And so this was kind of a left field kind of hire for maybe, and the fact that he jumped on it and it made an impression. Maybe that says a little bit about him and what he's going to bring to the table.
So he's walking into a mess. If you are, first off, it's a mess of a team, but this quarterback situation, you've seen it. You know what's going on. I mean, the coach has been fired. The quarterback hasn't said a word. A new coach has been hired. The quarterback hasn't said a word. No one's heard from Carson Wentz since they played the Green Bay Packers in, like, November. Does that seem odd to you if a guy wants to be back here?
I think they're playing their cards right. There's nothing to be said. I mean, if I'm Carson Wentz and I got benched, that would put a chip on my shoulder. I wouldn't be asking for trades. I'd be like, I got to be better. But at the same token, and Howie Roseman, I got to give him credit. In the past, he's been really good with the draft and getting players to come to Philly and play. But, man, he's been bad, just throwing darts in the dark right now, getting the best players to help his quarterback succeed. Justin Jefferson, he should be in an Eagles uniform. He's not. You went a different with Rieger. He's not a guy that's been out there. When I watch Alshon Jeffrey out there running around, it doesn't look pretty. You got a bunch of injury. You got an older offensive line. Yeah, I know Kelce's a Pro Bowl guy, but he's on the top end of a decline. And then, of course, your tackle situation is getting older as well. So, there's a lot of pieces that have to be fixed here. Howie's going to have to work some magic because I don't see this being a one-year fix. I don't see a new coach coming in and just fixing it. They gotta correct some of the mistakes, and it's going to start by revamping some of this roster. And it may not happen in year one. I don't think it may happen in year two. It may take some time to revamp some picks and get some guys to play at a level that could get them back to where they were a couple of years ago.
All right. We will obviously be keeping our eye on all this Wentz stuff as there's reports today that they're fielding calls. That cap hit, that dead money, we know that's a big problem. We just saw Goff get traded and the Rams eat the cap hit. So who knows what's going to happen with this, but it doesn't seem that Wentz is all that enthusiastic about staying here. Anthony Becht, 12-year NFL tight end, Jets, Bucs, Rams, Cardinals, Chiefs, Bucs pre- and post-game. If you're a Jet fan in the area, you see him on the Jets preseason games, but you're also doing stuff for Super Bowl 55. By the way, I didn't list all his jobs in that soliloquy.
Yeah, you don't have enough space over there.
No.
For all that stuff. Well, listen, you're right. I'm helping promote a company that I really do love. The company's called Timeshare Compliance. I teamed up with them months ago because I had a timeshare that was just a big problem. I was paying a bunch of maintenance fees. I got into it when I was a young player in the league. Me and my wife went on vacation. I got sucked into something that I shouldn't have got. And I heard about the Timeshare Compliance on the radio. I was like, let me cold call these guys and see if they can help me. And it turned in from not only they helping me, but we built a relationship. I didn't tell them who I was when I first called either. So I was trying to feel them out because I normally don't call companies to help me. But there's a lot of misrepresentation and unethical sales practices that are done with some of these timeshare companies. And a lot of these timeshare companies are really good. I mean, you think Disney, they got a great one. But there are ones that just treat people and lie through their teeth. And people get stuck with maintenance fees. They get stuck with not able to travel the week or the hotel resort they want to go to when they want to go to. So if that's you and you have that problem, go to timesharecompliance.com. They'll take care of you during the Super Bowl time. We have a special number as well, 877-760-9323. I don't put my name behind a lot of companies. I have a lot of integrity. This company and the owners of this company truly want to help folks get out of bad situations. And again, not all timeshares are equal, and that's why they want to help folks. So if you have those situations, you're being misrepresented by your timeshare company, and they're not, giving you what they told you they were going to give you, go to timesharecompliance.com, and they will definitely, at least hear your case. They get thousands every month, but they only take a handful because, not all the cases are applicable to really taking on. So, but the ones they do take on, they take full head of steam, and they take care of business.
Good stuff. By the way, are you still doing I figured with the pandemic, no football camp, but is that something you're still doing?
Yeah, so last June we didn't have it. The plan is this year to have it. We're right now we're setting dates for the Tampa Bay area and the Philly area as well.
We need you down in Ocean City, man. Ocean
City
High School on the beach to do one.
Yeah, we're definitely going to still follow protocol when it comes down. But you're right. Yeah, we'll just I got to get the kids back out. A lot of folks wanted me to do it last year, but it was just too risky. So hopefully the vaccines and everything starts picking up steam, and by the summertime we can have a little fun and get the kids back outside doing some fun things.
By the way, the NFL draft, I know you'll be over there. Your son is going to be going to college. I can't believe that.
Yeah. So he's a junior. He's a class of 2022.
Jeez.
He's a quarterback down here in Tampa. He's doing a really good job. He's got several Power 5 offers, and I'm just here to support, help. He's a hard worker. He's earned everything he's got, and it's been fun to watch. I went through the process. I have all the answers to the test, but you got to you got to do it on your own, right? So he's doing a great job, and proud to see him. We'll see what happens a couple of years. We'll be jumping in an RV and heading out to somebody's parking lot, knocking a couple back, watching the youngster play.
Well, I think Neil Brown should make a call, maybe, right? And then, and your wife, Deanne, we all met in college together, hanging out at Chicken Bones Rhythm Cafe.
Yes,
and
sir.
Here we are, man. It's good to see
and
you,
your
brother.
Van Wilder's 7-year graduation, apparently, right? Since
well, that's why I don't have a son ready to go to college.
That's great, man. It's great to be on, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you soon. Anthony Becht, everybody, 12-year NFL tight end from the Jets, Bucs, Rams squad. By the way, before we run, who's winning?
Oh, yeah. So I got the Chiefs not only covering but winning the game 34-28. I think it's going to be close. I really do. I think it's going to be a good game. I know I'm going to get burned for betting against Brady, but let's be honest, guys. I mean, Mahomes he's the next guy, right? He's the guy that just makes it happen, and he's fearless. They're both fearless, but I don't know. It's hard to just – I haven't seen a blueprint yet to stop the Chiefs. So maybe the Bucs figure that out. I wouldn't be shocked if the Bucs win, but I like the Chiefs by 6.
All right, that's Anthony Becht. Thanks, man.
Yep.
And he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. We'll talk to Ant throughout the offseason and get some more draft conversation going.